Welcome to the Appalachia Insider We the People Podcast. This is your host, Terry Sager and Christopher Allen. Down here at Mi Hacienda, we have an exhilarating show for you all tonight. Hope you guys are tuned in. Be sure to hit that like and share button. We got all of our sponsors over on the left side of the screen. And we'll let these guys take it off. Cody, Terry, it's your time to shine here in the Mi Hacienda, Sayersville, Kentucky. We the People of Eastern Kentucky Podcast. Let's go.
We are here, Terry V. Salvia here at Yeehaw. One of our number one sponsors up here. We really appreciate them for giving us an opportunity. We are here in a new location tonight. We got beat out and pushed out by the Magoffin County Democratic Party tonight. They're having a meeting up there at Magoffin County Health Department. So we had to go to a different location. And, you know, I kind of like this atmosphere or location a little bit better. And then also working with one of our good sponsors here. This is a great opportunity to do stuff like this. What do you think about it?
I want to, go ahead and say thank you very much to one of our top sponsors. We love Mi Hacienda Mexican Restaurant. We really appreciated them giving us a venue. If you guys could see the venue, it's a great setup here. We really enjoy it. You guys need to come down, try some of the food, some of the best food around. Anybody that's watching us, no doubt, has eaten here before, so you know the chips and salsa can't be beat. Mm-hmm. And a little queso. You can't go wrong with some queso.
Yep. I'm wanting some chips right now.
Our producer would love to have some chips right now. But, yeah, we definitely want to send a big shout-out to Mi Hacienda Mexican Restaurant for giving us the opportunity to record here.
Yep. We got some other good sponsors, too. Just recently, we got Carson Sloan with...
Sloan with SL1 Construction and Excavating.
Yeah.
Get on, check out their Facebook page. Carson's always putting up pictures of the jobs he's done. He does great work. We really appreciate him as one of our sponsors. We have a lot of other sponsors. We have, as always, Granny Made Cheesecakes, BML Business Alliance, TechHoller.com, and many, many more. All the sponsors are, as you can see, rotating on the your left-hand side of the screen. Be sure to check out our sponsors. Without them, none of this would be possible. Without the viewers, none of this would be possible.
Something broke.
It's okay, folks. I am CPR certified. Just let me know if you need me.
Well, thank you all for tuning in tonight. We, the people of Eastern Kentucky. It's great to be able to share another week for you. One of the things we like to focus on naturally are our three aspects, which is economic development, community involvement, and guess what? You asked for it tonight. Every fourth week and every fourth Tuesday, we come to you with question answers and things that you submit our direction and our way. And Cody and I get to fill in on putting in our personal aspect on some of those and all that kind of deal. A lot of you are concerned tonight about the circumstances of the general election, which is only 97 days away, something like that.
Before we get into that, though, Terry, I want to say, and I want to throw this out before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation, I look forward to this all week. Now, don't get me wrong, we have wonderful guests all throughout the month. We've had my good friend DJ Timmy. Do what, John?
You need to move your mic closer to you.
Need to get a little closer? Sorry. How's that?
You got to talking to the mic.
So, is this better?
Yeah.
All right, great. Over the last month or last few months, we've had some wonderful guests. We've had DJ Timmy. We've had Brandon Napier, a local poet. Many, many more. But I personally look forward to the You Asked For It section.
You asked for it.
All month long. I mean, it's our opportunity to get to answer questions that people have asked us and to be able to just spitball back and forth and enjoy conversation. So now let's get into the meat and taters, Terry.
The meat and taters, I guess, yeah. No, we've had a lot of questions that people responded a couple of weeks ago where we got into some of the political ramifications and things, and we know it's been a whirlwind within the last 7 to 10 days, particularly in the presidential race. And tonight we may be able to share some of those thoughts that you had, directions and questions and all that, and we hope to maybe be able to answer some of those tonight. But thank you for those questions. And like John said before, hit that like button, follow us and all that. You have all our episodes on We the People of Eastern Kentucky on our podcast live on Thursday nights, but then also we have it available through our own channel, We the People on Facebook, and also YouTube channel, We the People of Eastern Kentucky, and also on Spotify.
That's correct. We do have it on Spotify, and I've been saying this forever. Unfortunately, we just at Appalachia Insider and We the People, we just haven't had time to be able to make it happen yet. But one of the things we're looking forward to doing is we're going to be available everywhere that podcasts are made. So we're going to be on Apple Podcasts. We're going to be on, I don't know, any place that streams and hosts. That's one of the things that Spotify offers to its podcasters. Anything that streams and hosts podcasts, it'll share it out through those. So we're going to try to get that set up as soon as possible. If you are like me, a lot of times I'll just pull up, I've got an iPhone, I just pull up my Apple Podcasts, look for what I want to listen to, subscribe to it, and that's what it is. I don't get on Spotify, I don't get on other channels. Now, that said, we really appreciate that Spotify allows us to be able to host the show on there, and we're looking forward to being able to get on these other platforms.
One of the things, too, what we try to do, We the People of Eastern Kentucky, is to be able to give you information and communicate with you, particularly on things that are happening. We would like to become more involved with some of the activities or things. If you have a community days or something like that in your town, get a hold of us, because we might like to come down and live stream. If you're offering some music or this and that, performers and things, we can bring that to you and also put it on a streaming way. That way people, you'll have a greater outreach.
Yeah, this podcast is always brought, as always, is brought to you by Appalachia Insider. Appalachia Insider is our media business.
Yes.
Appalachia Insider is a business owned by Magoffin News Network, LLC, but that doesn't mean we are strictly Magoffin County. We're looking forward to branching out into some of the other local counties.
Yep.
Johnson County, Floyd County. We want to get over towards West Liberty. So I want to go ahead and make this public now. We always do free advertisements for nonprofits. So if you're a nonprofit organization, you're hosting an event or something like that, you want to advertise it out. We're averaging hundreds of thousands of readers a month. Feel free to get in touch with us, and we'll be able to share your event out for you.
Get onto the digital age.
Get into the digital
Appalachia Insider.
Mm-hmm. Appalachian Insider. What's the
Appalachia.
Can we go through the sponsors real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and run through them real quick.
All right. We got techholler.com. Tracked Outdoors, the hunting show, shot in Sayersville, Kentucky. Lots of hunters. If you're part of the hunting group in Magoffin County, you've probably heard of Tracked Outdoors. You got Creekside Stitching and Feed. Awesome. Appalachia TCG. If you're playing cards, check us out. East KY Cards and Collectibles in Betsy Lane, Kentucky. Parkway Peddlers Mall, Sloan Chiropractic, the Rolton Community Council, SL1 Contracting, and Me Hacienda, where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Always, as always, SL1 Contracting. And just because I love this saying, if you need you back,
SL1.
crack, call Zach. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, and also down the road, much like what John and Cody are saying, we want to help people in Eastern Kentucky and give them opportunities. I'm in the process right now of talking to a lot of individuals on helping to promote artists here in Eastern Kentucky. A lot of times people get in the music business and they think that, just me out there performing, somebody's going to see me and I'm going to be a hit and all that kind of stuff. But being on that side of the fence, it takes a lot of work. And there's a lot of people that need to know you. And the main thing is to be able to do mechanisms and work with people and stuff to be able to extend your career. One of the things in the future, I have a company called Maxim Music, and we're going to be working with Eastern Kentucky artists all across the way here to try to be able to help them be known to not only their music, but to get to know them as an artist. And a lot of people don't realize when you're up there on stage and things, you can be the greatest singer in the world, but if you can't communicate and know what your audience wants and what they're doing and what kind of audience you have, you're not going to be successful. So in my mind, 80% of live concerts and things like that is stage presence. You've got to have the ability to communicate with that audience and bring them in to the music that you're trying to do. So those are some of the things that we'll be able to work with in the future, and you can get in touch with us to be able to do that, because we want that make sure that happens in Eastern Kentucky.
Guys, we want to go ahead too and take just 1 second and thank all the people that are watching right now. If you don't care, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps us get out there. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Let's get to the real questions.
The real questions. You asked for it. That's what we're doing tonight. A lot of things in the political arena.
Terry, we have had over 2 years of political action in the last week.
Yes, we have.
I mean, it's been like nothing I've ever seen before.
You sure
It's been crazy.
It has been crazy.
It started kind of with the assassination, I guess, attempt.
The assassination attempt, yes.
Yes, which is, I've been listening a little bit on one of the networks there, how they've been interviewing the head of Secret Service, which naturally she stepped down after all.
Well, I don't know about naturally. There was a conversation there for a long time that said she wasn't going to.
But they didn't want her to because of the situation to put the agency in.
Well, it was kind of like when they asked Nancy Pelosi, they said, is President Biden going to step down? And she replied, well, we're just waiting for him to give his answer and make his decision. And basically they was like, well, he said he wasn't going to.
Yeah.
And she replied, we're just waiting for him to make his decision.
Yep. Well, I think, you're looking at the polls and things like that. People, hats off to Joe. I think, he realized the situation he was. He served his country 50 years. He's been a great servant and done a lot of great things for us. But as everybody, and which I'm starting to learn, when you get in the twilight years, things are not as easy and things slow down and things are a lot tougher to do. So I think one of the greatest things in anything, whether it be politics, business, or whatever, is to turn over that guard to somebody else, and particularly young people.
Well, here's my thing, Terry. This is the thing that's been driving me crazy about all this, is that it was the thing that surprised me about all this is that he's chosen to step down after the debate.
Yeah.
And I was surprised about how surprised everyone was. I mean, and I get that a lot of people don't follow this as much as I do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there was a lot of people in the Democratic Party surprised, too. And after what they saw the performance there, they realized that, you can't be sharp all the time, but there's other factors that led into him, I think. I think there's definitely some health situations there.
But see, I got to ask, and I might honestly ask in your opinion,
Sure.
What point in the Democratic Party, now mind you, I have been a strong Democrat my entire life.
Yeah.
At what point in the Democrat Party did the concept of coronation become the standard?
Yeah.
We're not going to have primaries. We're going to remove people from ballots. We're not even going to bother with debates. President Biden is the president. If he says he's running, he's the candidate. So
there's a amount and a sense of loyalty, I think, to parties sometimes, and then the near time now we're experiencing, we can see what's happening. People are more party oriented, and I think flip-flopping, and even with some of the issues or things that they're looking at, and you can have people who've been a Democrat all their life and switch over to Republican, which some of them have done, particularly here in Magoffin County within the last 8 years.
That's Kentucky in general, the entire state.
And it's one issue, It's either babies or guns or something like that.
I don't necessarily agree with you. I don't think it's one issue. I think it's sort of a nihilism. I think people are looking around seeing the stuff that the Democratic Party, the party of democracy, is doing. So, for example, the state of Florida, you had during the time of the primaries, you had what were the names of the candidates that were primary in President Biden? You had Marianne Williamson.
Yeah.
Okay, you had Cenk Uygur. Now, Cenk Uygur would have had to have went to Supreme Court for him to even be able to run, but he was still a candidate.
Right.
At that time, RFK Jr. was a Democratic primary candidate.
Right.
The Democratic Party in Florida made a decision to literally remove their names from the primary ballot so that the only name that was on the primary ballot was President Biden.
That's true.
Okay, like I said, I've been a strong Democrat my entire life, and to me, and maybe it's where I just have a strong sense of what's right and what's wrong. To me, I think democracy is right.
I do
Give
too.
people the option.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my
thought.
Well,
the biggest thing that's happened in the Democratic Party, to be kind of honest with you, is the fact that there's a lot of Democrats that, when the Democratic started, it was for the people. I mean, you talk about labor unions were, highly Democratic.
What happened to that?
And, it's done well. I mean, you look at the influx of unions right now and stuff, it's never been any better than what it was.
Yeah, but is that because of or in spite of the Democrat Party?
Well, I think it's because they have become more involved than they have in a long time with, in particular, where he went with the auto workers up there and actually met with them. How many times have you seen a president go and meet with picket lines and things of that nature? That did not happen. And you had a situation out in Hollywood. There's a lot of guys that support the Democratic Party and at one time supported, President Biden, and they were behind him. So a lot of their speech and a lot of their direction was very positive. And he had an influence on the artists, the acting guild and stuff out there where they've recently got an increase, and anybody that's affiliated with them because of what's happening with streaming and all that, they were concerned that they were going to be left behind. Well, that labor organization has been very proactive and had gotten a lot of benefits and increase in wages and stuff like that for them to protect them. So from the labor standpoint, I think the Democratic Party is getting back to where it was. It was the party of the people. It was the party of the middle class. It was the party of the workers. And what fuels me is to see that the Republicans now are coming out here saying, we're the party of the people and we're wanting to do that. When you sit back right now and you're looking, all we want to talk about is inflation prices going up. The president and the cabinet have nothing to do with pricing.
I disagree.
Well, I don't. Because what happens is you look at the top 10 companies in this area, and particularly in petroleum industry, when they make $23 billion of profit last year and things, and Congress is looking right now to pass legislation to be able to inhibit some of the surpluses that they get, from the government because of their profitability. It's crazy.
Now, here's
what happens is those guys put it in the CEO's pocket, and the people don't get.
And I agree with everything you just said there, except for the fact that the president has no control of it, and here's why.
Yeah.
The president, one of the president's main powers, and this is most definitely a power, is the bully pulpit. The fact that the president can stand up in front of the American people and everybody in America is going to listen.
Yeah.
Well, a perfect example is when, I believe it was Clinton. Clinton was president. We started having rises in gas prices. Clinton stands up on the bully pulpit in front of America and says, if you don't lower prices, I'm opening the reserve tanks and I'll drop it down to 30 cents a gallon. And he says this in front of the American people, and instantly it happened. Another example.
And what has happened in a situation where gas prices started to increase after the pandemic?
I'll give you another example.
He opened those reserves to be able to keep the pricing where it's been at. And right now, gasoline prices have not been better than they have right during the pandemic.
All right, but now hear me out. I'll give you another example. FDR was president.
Sure.
The Supreme Court was fighting him on everything he was trying to do when he was trying to pass the New Deal.
Absolutely.
He stands up on the bully pulpit. Now, he didn't say this directly to the Supreme Court in a hush-hush, I'm going to write him a strongly worded letter, quote unquote. He stands up on the bully pulpit on the radio at that time and says, I will pack the Supreme Court. Instantly, the Supreme Court stopped fighting him on the New Deal.
Well, I think you've answered your own question about the Democratic Party, just right there, what you're saying. If you get and you use the bully pulpit to be able to do that, then it's using an advantage of being an incumbent or a president or the focal point or the ability to do, press releases and all that kind of stuff.
But then you can't also stand back and say that the president has no power to adjust prices.
Well, I don't think he does, because he can't come down there and tell, unless you're Jimmy Carter and freeze everything.
If the president stands up on the bully pulpit and says, and I quote, if he says these exact words, if Walmart, Target, and these super corporations don't start lowering prices immediately, I will freeze prices.
Well,
I bet you a month's paycheck that prices will start dropping wide open.
Well, that is
just a second, guys. We have a poll going on right now. Who you voting for, Trump or Harris? Right now, Trump's leading 3-1 you guys take it back over. Just letting you know what's going on screen.
1 second, guys. We got plenty of viewers right now.
We don't really want to get into that.
We're getting into it tonight.
Oh, we will get into it tonight. But
it's in it. We're already in it. Trump versus Harris right on screen.
Those people have asked, yes.
No, listen, I still believe in the dark horse, and I'll take it to my grave. All right, guys, listen, we have a lot of viewers right now. We want to say thank you to our viewers once again. Yeah. Please hit that like button, hit the share button, get this out for everybody else. It's easy to get on and watch the show and just forget about it. Give us the thumbs up. We appreciate it. That gets everybody else watching the show. All right, turn you back up.
Well, the Democratic situation, it's so funny because my background's in political science. That's the degree I had, and I studied politics and parties and campaigns, and actually been involved with a lot of campaigns as far as strategy. Mm-hmm. My involvement in that, it's always working with candidates behind the scenes, so I know there's a lot of strategy that goes into it, and I think we can see strategy coming to an effect of realizing that even at the presidential state, there are states that are involved in this election as well. You've got senators, congressmen, and all that kind of stuff. The thing that really bewilders me right now is the fact that we don't have term limits on Congress. We got some guys that have been there 30, 40 years. We have no control over that. We have the same situation. I think what Biden brought up recently is as far as the Supreme Court, he wants to put term limits on them and things. And, why should someone have...
Shayna said, let's go Trump.
Who?
Shayna.
Well, of course Shayna does. She's a Trumper through and through. and she's a registered Democrat. That's what I can't understand. But anyhow,
listen, it's hard.
Vote, guys, vote.
Just put this out there. I am not a Trump supporter.
No.
Anybody that has watched this show before knows that.
Yep.
Now, that's not saying that I despise the man. I do not have TDS. I will say this.
There's a lot of people that do.
I do not despise the man, but it is hard when you're especially somebody from Eastern Kentucky who has lived the life that we live.
Sure.
And been drugged down so many times by big corporations. When you got a presidential candidate, be it Republican or Democrat, standing up saying, we're going to put you back to work. We're going to build the middle class back. We're going to make America great again. That's hard to deny. If you're a human that loves your country and wants to see your fellow workers raise up, any candidate that says this stuff, you're going to be drawn to.
But you said like the bully pulpit a moment ago. The guy uses that because he's an entertainer. That's what he's done his whole life.
There's no doubt about it.
He's been before the camera. He knows what to do. But here's the point that concerns me about Trump. Bottom line is this. I'm going to do this. Things are going to get better. Give me a chance to do that. But the man has no plan.
Let me tell you
something. He has no policy out there. You look at the Republican convention or what they went through. They had no policy. They're wishy-washy right now on their number one area, which is abortion. Mm-hmm. Now they're wanting to change. Well, maybe if, and you saw recently the conservative judges in the Supreme Court in Iowa, I think it was the state, said, well, if it's going to be the mother's life, then, we're going to allow them to ship to another state to be able to have an abortion over there. So, to me, you're either this or you're that. And now we have people getting up there saying, we're going to do this, just get me in there, things are going to get better and all that. Well, I would like to think that. But you got to tell me how you're going to do that.
Shayna says.
And that's the problem that they say is, well, here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But tell me how you're going to do that. Because what I do know is the man that was in there for 4 years before, and the reason he's not there now is the fact that he was still saying those things. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, look what I've done. But he doesn't explain anything how he's done it, what his policies are. And then you get a guy that you bring aboard as a vice president like J.D. Vance that goes out here and makes millions of dollars on writing a book about his heritage or
and
whatever.
He says he's not from here.
No, and all of a sudden you've got some guy that says, my roots are from Appalachia, Breathitt County, Jackson, Kentucky, and all this kind of stuff. And 4 to 6 years ago was bashing. It was one of the biggest Trump haters in the world. And the man, which is the most important decision that a president will ever make is who's your vice president going to be. Because if something happens to you, they got to get right there.
Shayna says...
No, I'm not praying. Shayna.
Whatever he done the 4 years he was in worked well with me. Low gas prices and groceries.
All right, now listen.
They've been lower when they were...
Vote, guys, on screen. Vote right now. Trump, Harris, or RFK. But go to Cole.
I have seen myself, and I can say this from personal experience, have a change of heart and a change of opinion on something before. So I'm not going to blame the guy if 4 years ago he said Trump was Satan or whatever he said. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And now he's like, okay, maybe I was wrong. It ain't that bad. I have no problem with people changing their mind. Now I have a problem with people doing it when it's politically important for them.
And you think this is not?
And that's a fair argument to make. That is. Yeah. But my point is that I don't have a problem with somebody that rethinks things and thinks, God, you know what? Maybe, all right, I'm kind of starting to see it from this angle. I don't have a problem with that, me personally.
I agree with that because here's the problem. We should have our foundation of our life challenged.
Absolutely.
We should be looked at it, and people can bring in a new point of view, which can have an influence on the way that you believe about a certain item or a situation and this and that. I think that's good. I think it's great to have your faith challenged or your belief system challenged. But the point is, what made that change? See, we in human life, a lot of times people, I agree with you too. If somebody goes through a change in their life, what made that change happen? Mm-hmm. How did it happen? You need to explain that to the people like, hey, I was here, now I'm here. Well, the first thing going to ask you is, how'd you get there?
Yeah, but now...
Well, I changed the way I thought. Well, what changed you?
But when you're dealing with...
And we don't get anything like that. All we get is, this is the way I was before, this is the way I am now. You've got to have an explanation.
Right, but when you're dealing with modern media, and that's the reason that I love Appalachia Insider and I love the podcast that we do.
Sure.
When you're dealing with modern media, you get a 30-second soundbite. So J.D. Vance ain't going to get a chance to sit down and say, okay, here's the profound information that I consumed over the last 4 years that caused me to make this life-altering change.
But he's never said that.
He's never going to get a chance to. He's going to get 30 seconds to say,
you
like Trump? How come? Because. The end.
Oh, my gosh.
Unless he sits down on a long-form conversation like a Joe Rogan or like a Pierce Morgan 1 hour podcast or something like that, he's never going to get a chance to explain this, and the American public is going to be doing the same thing that you and I are doing. They're going to be saying, well, maybe he did change. Nah, he's just changing for politics. That's why I love what we do. That's why I love our podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, hit the like button. Share it out. We appreciate you being here, brother.
Sure. The situation there is, and JD and all that kind of thing.
What about when Biden said that stuff about Harris, and then she became vice president?
Perfect example. But
what do you mean?
They're standing up on the podium
against each other for a minute, and they decided to work together.
Right? Running against each other as president, they tore each other apart.
Yeah,
and it's like we just forget about that.
But there's a difference
when they're in the same party.
There's a difference there.
There's not a difference.
Yes, it is. You're running against somebody else and this and that. And the main thing, when you are running for a political party, the most important aspect, rather than looking good on TV or rather than saying the right things to the right people, is a matter of principle and policy. People are wanting, or did want, to look at a person when they voted for them and said, I really like this guy and I like what he's saying and what his policies and things are.
Yeah, but
here's the most important thing.
Keep up those shares, guys.
And you and I have said this in the past through many conversations, and I'm strongly for this. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what my policies are. I am not trying to influence anybody in this podcast or anything like that. The only thing is I want policy represented. Now, our people...
Which one of the parties right now?
Our people are not being represented.
Which one of the parties right now, Democrat or Republican, during this election, has either one released a comprehensive policy?
Well, you can look at the platform and the websites.
Trump says, if you don't get me in, Putin's going to nuke the world. Biden was over here saying, if you don't put me in, it's going to be the end of democracy and Trump's going to become a dictator. And neither one of them, the only political candidate, which is why I'm still for the dark horse,
I know. All right.
The only political candidate that's coming out saying, okay, here's the actual existential problems. Mm-hmm. Here's what we need to do to fix it. I don't care what those other idiots are saying.
Sure.
Was RFK Jr. That was the only candidate that is giving here's actual existential problems that we're dealing with right now.
But the key point is this. As people in Congress, as people to go to represent us in Frankfurt, as our representatives, need to represent us.
Oh, I 100%
And that's not being done. The people right now, they're in the Congress and the United States Senate and Congress people are not representing their people. I don't care what anybody says. They're voting party. And because you can look at all the votes that's recently happened, when Democrats had charge of the House, it was this way. And now the Republicans they say, well, we got a chance right now. And I don't know how many times I can tell to you that I've been to Frankfurt on the Senate floor and on the House floor talking to representatives there.
Shout out to my boy Ishmael.
They could care less about the other party. Their attitude, and this was quoted to me. I'm not going to say who it was because it was one of the representatives. Well, they had their time, and now we're going to get ours, and we're going to do it the way we are.
I don't think
with 85% Republicans down there.
I don't think that there's anybody in America, anybody in Magoffin County, anybody in Eastern Kentucky that doesn't agree with that.
Yeah,
I think everybody would agree with the fact that it don't matter which party it is, neither one of them is actually representing them.
That's right, absolutely.
What they believe is when you're a Republican, you believe, well, if I can get the Republicans in, maybe things will be just a little bit better.
That's right.
And the Democrats believe, well, if I can get the Democrats in, maybe things will be just a little bit. Yeah, we both agree and we both will admit that neither one of them is actually representing us.
That's right.
But if we can get our party in, maybe things will get just a little. Listen, me and you were having this conversation before the podcast even started.
Yeah.
I want to see people get mad. There was a time where we threw tea in the ocean over a 30-cent tax.
That's right. Throw the tea in the ocean.
We need to get back to the difference between America and France? In America, citizens are afraid of the government. In France, the government's afraid of the citizens.
Well, that's true because of what's happened recently.
I got a question.
Yes.
And this is to respond to Shayna. Do you think the media had something to do with this? When Trump was first running, because she said, heck, I was afraid when Trump first got elected. Was that portrayed by the media that everybody should be so afraid?
Are you saying that was gaslit and stoked by the media?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I will say this. I want to respond to my buddy Bud Montgomery because I think the world of Bud. Bud replied here, I have the right to vote now and I want to keep it. Enough said. I don't understand this argument. Now, keep in mind, let me say this again so that it's very clear. I am not a Trump supporter.
Yes.
I do not think he was a good president, and I don't even like him as a person. Mm-hmm. But we've already had this man for 4 years. He was not a dictator then. He will not be a dictator. It's not like we don't know what he's going to do as a president. He's going to get in and pass a massive tax cut for billionaires.
Sure.
He's going to extend his tax cut. Yep. And that's probably just about the extent of what he would do as the president.
Yep.
And yeah, there's nobody that can deny that January 6th was wrong.
Absolutely.
Now, do I personally think it was an actual insurrection?
Yes.
No. But it was most assuredly wrong.
Yes.
So, the concept of, well, if Trump gets in, it's the end of America, it just doesn't make logical sense to me. That's like saying if Biden gets in one more time, it's going to be the greatest time in American history. No, we've just had him for 4 years.
Yeah.
We know what he's going to do.
Absolutely.
We've already seen what he's going to do.
That's right.
Now, don't get me wrong, Biden has passed many bills.
Yes,
and
he
I
has.
said this the other day, and I mean this.
Yes.
And I mean this.
Bipartisan.
Biden has passed a lot of bills that 10 years from now will have huge, profound impacts on America. The CHIPS Act. The bringing stuff back over and manufacturing here in America. That's all going to have a huge impact, and I'm 100% for it. Mm-hmm. The problem was that President Biden didn't have the capability to be able to explain that to the American people. Mm-hmm. Of here's what I did, but you're just going to have to be patient and wait on it.
Well, one of the biggest things to answer, Shayna's question, the media, yeah, absolutely. But the only thing that I have to say about media is this. If you'll watch MSNBC, CNN networks, which is a pro-Democrat, type platform, Trump is on more there than any other Democratic candidate. Trump is on there constantly.
Because they're blasting him, right?
So let me tell you, I read a book one time by Lee Iacocca, okay?
Yep. I'm familiar.
And Lee said, and this is one thing that hit me in my head through my lovely college days, I guess, bad press is better than no press at all. And you're looking at situations, Trump plays that to a key. Because when he had all the convictions and stuff like that in trials and everything, he always had to come out and make a post. It was the same thing every time. It's rigged. They're after me. It's a witch hunt. I mean, over and over and over again. There's no substance to that. The reverse goes
the same way, though, Terry.
But the point is, he's getting more press with the things that he's being convicted of and proven. Now, here's the key about it. Everybody says media, media, media.
Listen,
y'all, there were 12 jurors on there that voted, and they voted unanimously. And it would have been a mistrial if one person had said, no, the man is not guilty. He gets before people where years he has swindled people.
Terry, the judge
on fraud.
Oh my God! The judge said
filing bankruptcy and not paying people.
The judge said during that
and then coming up there and misappropriating, saying that his business is worth more than this, but when it benefits him, it's less than that when it comes to me paying insurance or whatever.
Wait a minute. Here's all the charges.
Man has been convicted of that by his peers, not by Joe Biden, not by the Democratic Party, but 12 jurors heard all the testimony, heard all the evidence, and absolutely unanimously
Terry, the judge told him to not even worry about which thing they're convicting him on. There's like 5 different things that he's being charged with. The judge literally looks at the jurors and said, don't worry about which one you convict him on. If it's yes to one, it's yes to all of them. Just go ahead and pick one.
They have a choice.
That's never been heard of in the history of America.
They have a choice as a human being to vote guilty or not guilty. They are given that choice, not the judge, not the influence of the judge. When you sit in a jury, you have the right to be able to say, this is what I heard. This is what my belief system is. And as you'll see, it didn't take them very long when they went back and deliberated. They came back in, almost short times in history and convicted this man on all the counts. Now, here's the thing that disturbs me more than anything else.
Okay, I'm curious about that.
Yes. Is the woman lying that where he's been convicted of,
I'm not going to.
A juror of his peers convicted him of that as well.
I will not.
This is a guy that gets up there and looks and says to Christian people, I got to have your vote in order to get in there and all that kind of stuff. And this is a guy that walks with the Bible upside down from a church house in Washington, D.C. and says 1 Corinthians.
Terry,
the man's never looked at the Bible.
See, I can't stand that.
I'm not judging him, but the point is, in James it says you can be known by your work.
Why does politics always
His works are showing that. Because they make it that.
Yeah, but
the candidates make it that. That's the problem with the scene, is you cannot legislate morality. Morality should be lived in front of people as a testimony of their life. And we got people coming up here saying, this is the way you got to live your life.
We have always...
You got to feel
Bud Montgomery has a question.
In this country, legislative morality. Let's see.
When he picks all his judges, what's going to happen when then guilty or not guilty?
I think they've already dismissed the other cases against him. The cases against him were for...
They're not going to.
They've already dismissed him. The cases against him were
for...
Let us know in the comments, folks. Did Trump do it?
I know the case against him for the
it's because of immunity. It's because of immunity is the reason they did that, and they ruled that because he was a president.
I got one question.
Seriously, no, hang on. I want to ask this question because I'm seriously.
We said it was going to be good tonight, right?
We're taking it up a notch tonight.
and I seriously want to know. I mean, this is me honestly asking because I was under the assumption it was never necessarily that I know of written down in actual law.
Yeah.
But I have always been under the assumption that when a president was acting in an official capacity, they always had immunity. We know for a fact that President Obama tortured people in Guantanamo Bay after saying flat out that he would shut down Guantanamo Bay because it was illegal torture. Then he tortured people in his presidential capacity, and nobody held him up for war crimes.
What you've got to look at, though, that happened before Obama.
That happened during
the Bushes were the ones that incorporated and said that you could go ahead and do that.
That doesn't change the fact that it still happened.
And guess who it was in the Bush administration? It was his vice president, Dick Cheney, was the one to push that to be able to do it because he was involved with the CIA and knew that those tactics.
You're missing the question.
What's the question?
The question is, if that's not... at what point when the president enacted an action in his official capacity, was that not covered under immunity?
Because
we know for a fact that America has literally drone struck and killed innocent people, including American citizens,
sure,
illegally.
Yeah,
and this was the president making a decision in his official capacity as president. Mm-hmm. Now, if we were going after him, mm-hmm. Okay, I think pretty much every president since John F. Kennedy will go to jail for war crimes if we were being serious about
Well,
this.
I don't think so. And here's the point that goes to there. When the president's faced with a situation like that, when the war room and he has all those people
Preach,
with him,
Ethan Allen.
Here is a situation that he has to do what's in the best interest of the American people. If people are going to die, yeah, people are going to die. But it's the same thing like going to war. What should we do at Pearl Harbor when the Japanese came over and bombed Pearl Harbor? We're just going to sit by and say, oh, sorry, guys, we're not going to do anything. Well,
we didn't commit a war crime. They bombed us. We blew them up.
So that makes it okay.
Yeah, that's by definition of the word crime.
So that means if somebody does something bad to me, then I have the right to be able to go and do something to them?
That if you're at war. If you are a sovereign nation that declares war on another sovereign nation.
Yeah.
And you go to war with it, you have not committed a crime.
So what constitutes going to war? Is it something that you offer a strike
a declaration of
as
war.
Retaliation of something that they may have done something to our
declaration
troops?
Of war. And now, mind you, and this gets deep political.
Yes, it does.
Mind you that we haven't done true declarations. We've been bombing people left and right since about the Bush administration.
Retaliation, yes.
Without doing declarations of war, because Congress has to do declarations of war.
Yes, they do. They're the only one that can.
Yeah, well, we've been bombing Syria, we've been bombing Yemen, we bombed a little bit of everybody, mm-hmm. and we haven't done a declaration.
We got people comment left and right.
So you think they should have immunity for that? If you're taking someone's life, see that's.
Do I think they should have immunity?
That is the contradiction.
No, I'm with you. I say we lock up every president we've had since about John F. Kennedy.
Well. There is an official act and there's an unofficial act. I think if a president or somebody that's in charge of us does and makes the decision based on the security of our nation and the security of our people, and then most of them in the situations you described.
My good friend Stephen on here said easy. I've seen people get charged in Afghanistan with war crimes. Stephen brings up a good point.
Sure.
If you are a civilian or a citizen or even a soldier
mm-hmm.
and you commit a war crime,
mm-hmm.
you get charged and go to jail.
Absolutely.
If you're the president,
even if you're in the service.
If you're the president, that goes back to my point.
I don't like immunity.
Hasn't that always been the case? So this Supreme Court decision is basically a moot point. It's always been the case that the president has immunity.
Well, you're going to get up there now and all of a sudden say, okay, what was not official? To me, that's why I say the immunity is a person, a president is like everybody else. At each other. They don't go and jump in their pants at the end of the bed in the morning when they get up and want to do stuff. They put them in one leg at a time. They should be looked at as us. If they do a criminal crime, there's a key thing in litigation in the legal system, okay? The key word to any civil litigation, any criminal litigation, mm-hmm. the one thing that has to be proven
mens rea
is intent.
Yeah, it's mens rea.
What is your intent? Because if intent is not proven, then all of a sudden reasonable doubt comes in and then anything can happen there. But you have got to be able to prove that this person intentionally wanted to harm someone else from the civil standpoint, wanted to harm someone else criminally, and when you get into that situation, you cross that line. Now, here's the hypocrisy of Republicans. They want to go out here and say, okay, abortion is wrong, which I'm pro-life through and through. I've stated that many times on here. I don't believe that you should take the life of a child.
Both parties are hypocrites. Oh, my God.
They go up here and the first thing, and I know firsthand, because I went to Eddyville Penitentiary when I was in college. I had a correction class. They took us downstairs where the electric chair was. And, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, we have people out here protesting in the streets and this and that about abortions and babies and things like that. And then in return, they're the first one in line over here wanting to pull the switch on that. And they say, well, babies are innocent and all that, which they are. I agree 100% because I'm in that mode. But the point is, what's the difference in a life of a man or a woman that has committed a crime Don't they have ability to reconcile and to change their life and go this? But no, we're going to go here. We're going to pull a switch on them. It's hypocrisy.
So
because you can't have one killing someone here and then not killing somebody here.
So
it doesn't make sense to me.
My friend Stephen said, and we want to go ahead and say that Stephen is a military vet. We appreciate his service, Stephen. We always, buddy.
Stephen dropping the bomb.
Good to see you talk, brother. So Stephen said drone strike killings is different. They got an enemy in AO, which is area of operations.
Right.
It's war, so whatever we fight has a chance to leave the area. People left behind knew they was in imminent danger, a war zone. Mm-hmm. The fellas I seen get charged with war crimes was because they cut off fingers for souvenirs.
Sure.
Ooh, that's graphic.
Sure.
Drone strikes aren't a crime because we have positive ID of enemy and weapons. Mm-hmm. And Steve and I agree with that. Mm-hmm. The stuff that I'm specifically talking of, and I would have to look up the exact details of what I'm talking about.
I agree with Stephen,
and I apologize for not knowing them offhand, is we know for a fact that we did strikes on enemies that weren't verified in kill zones or something similar to that. I would have to look it up and get you the actual information on it. The point that I'm making to all this is that throughout history, since about John F. Kennedy, no joke, every president has done something militarily questionable that would be considered by the Geneva Convention to be a war crime.
Absolutely. I mean, retaliation. If someone strikes our troops or this night, we're going to definitely go back and do that.
Okay, yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is if there's a declaration of war, that's different.
Well, to me...
guys, one more time, please feel free to hit that like button, hit that share button. It's actually, Terry, it's 8 o'clock.
Drop those questions. Let's keep going.
I didn't know that. I apologize.
Guys, we want to say thank you to everybody that watched the show. We're maybe a couple more minutes, but we want to say thank you. And once again, we started a little bit late, so we're running a little bit long.
Yeah, it was about a quarter after.
Let's say we go to 8:30 at least.
We want to go ahead and say thank you to me, Hacienda, once again for allowing us to host the show.
We're getting a lot of response here tonight.
We are getting a lot of response. We appreciate everybody that's throwing out comments and conversations. That's what this episode's all about. We're having a great time. We're enjoying the conversation. If you're enjoying the conversation, hit the like button, hit the share button. That helps everybody else get on the show. Thanks so much.
Well, first of all, I got to say this. Me not being a member of the military, but seeing my stepdad be able to do that when he served in Korea and stuff, I have the utmost respect. And one of the things that I try to do, if I see one of our armed forces guys, no matter what the uniform is, I want to try purposely to thank them. Thank them for my freedom. Because I'll be honest with you, if we did not have them, and that is one deterrent that we have because of our military presence and things, and for those serving, taking out of time of their lives to be able to do that, those people would be right over here. They would be over here on us if we didn't have the people that serve and be able to do that.
For the last few minutes, though, Terry, let's get back. Let's get away from war crimes and military and personal attacks and all that stuff. Let's get back to my forte, what I love to talk about.
Okay.
Economics. And my friend, once again, my friend Stephen has brought up an excellent point.
Okay.
And I think you'll agree with him, and I agree with him too. Both of us, I think, will agree on this.
Economics,
Stephen said, inflation by design will kill our capitalist government, though. It's kind of our only weakness. I 100% agree with that. And let me go ahead and clarify real quick, folks, and this is important that you listen to me. Yeah. If a company is making a 60% profit increase year over year, that is not inflation.
No.
That is them gouging you.
That's exactly right.
Inflation means that they have to spend more because it costs more for them, and they increase the price, which puts their bottom line back at zero.
Yep.
So if they are making increased profits, if they are making record profits never before seen in the history of the United States or the world,
which is happening,
that is not inflation. They even name it inflation is a misnomer, and it does it no justice whatsoever.
A perfect example.
Stephen, you're right.
Perfect example is this, and it's coming. The next city council meeting in Salyersville, the mayor recently submitted a letter to
Appalachia Insider will be releasing a story on this. Yes.
And also, I think it was Super Quick and some of the other convenience store chains in the area. And it was basically on the complaints that the citizens have been able to approach them with. in Magoffin County, and particularly those particular convenience stores, we pay 20 cents more on the gallon than they do in Johnson County, than they do in Powell County, that they do in all these other counties. And a lot of people say, oh, well, that's based on agriculture. Everything's done like that, which they're supposed to show up
That's based on agriculture.
at the next city council meeting and explain to the citizens of Salyers-ville and Magoffin County how they arrive at being able to price gasoline.
Now, the question is, are they going to show two questions?
Yeah.
All right, folks. Let's do a poll.
Is Magoffin County in a good spot right now?
Let's do a poll right here.
Okay.
Will the owners of the local gas stations, which are jacking up prices, even show up at the meeting?
No, they will not. No.
Or two, if they show up, will it be so full of legalese that by the time they get done talking, nobody's going to have any idea what they actually said? Keep in mind that Appalachia Insider will be releasing this story when they come and talk. I can't wait to see what they say. We're going to do our best to get a verbatim recording of the meeting. Yeah. I want to know exactly what is said. So, question, John, will they show up?
No.
And if they do, will they actually answer questions with legitimate answers?
No. But this is what we're talking about on We the People of Eastern Kentucky. We have a voice. We have the right to ask these questions. We have the right to be able to state our...
No, and I disagree with that.
I got polls running.
We don't
vote.
Have the
Will
right.
the gas station owners show up to the meeting?
I
put LOL no way.
You said a minute ago. People need to get mad again.
Well, you can, in a constructive way.
In a constructive way. Yeah, I'm not saying
no,
burn down the Capitol. Don't go nuts. But get back to the
the process. Yeah, we've gone away from the process.
We need to get back in this society to the mindset of right is right and wrong is wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to allow you to do me wrong. I'm going to be very good to you, but in return, you have to be very good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to that.
Agree with that 100%. And that's what we have to do is simplicity. We have to go back there, the golden rule and this and that, do unto others, But life will be a whole lot easier if we do that. It was amazing.
And back to one more crime.
Okay,
quick.
Sure.
Back to that point that I was just making. Back to my rant just for 1 second.
Okay.
When they aren't being very good to you, speak up. I tell my children all the time, be kind. Be kind to everybody. But don't be done wrong.
Yeah, well, people...
You guys are getting off topic here. Let's go back to the gas station people.
I
want to hear about this.
On that topic.
Yeah.
I want to hear about this. Everybody wants to hear about this.
Absolutely.
Particularly. What in the world are these gas station owners going to say? Like, what are they going to say whenever somebody goes, why is Magoffin County's gas 20 cents higher, 30 cents higher than Johnson, Prestonsburg?
Yeah.
I just want to see what Cody and Terry, what pops in their head that these gas station owners are even going to remotely say.
The only feasible justification is supply and demand. And that goes back to the capitalism issue. Well, we don't have any competition here. We're allowed to charge whatever we want to. And if you tell us you're wrong, we're wrong. Are you a communist?
Well, I know that in particular, a lot of them, they do have some regulations because, this naturally has been proposed to people before.
Yes, he did. We're looking forward to that meeting.
Agriculture is important to some because, it goes back to supply and demand again. But if you're involved in farming, things of that nature, you will see better pricing in those particular areas if you have a lot of agriculture and farming and things going in that. We here in Magoffin are not necessarily known for farming. You may have your garden in the backyard or whatever, but there's not a mass cornfields.
This isn't exactly Muncie, Indiana.
I understand that.
Yeah, we're not raising 500-acre cornfields.
That's right. But that's one of the excuses that they try to do it is blame it on, well, you're not that agriculture, so we don't need to be able to do that, and the population's smaller here, so we need to make those margins. What's the question?
Shane said, "Where's the poll?"
Oh, it should be on the video.
I got to get a decent producer. Get somebody.
Pull it out there.
Get somebody that ain't got cheese in their beard. But
I got cheese in my beard.
So
thank you, Shana, for your input tonight. Yeah.
Stephen said, "Stephen, you've been great. We definitely appreciate all the comments from everybody. Bud, everybody that's commenting on the show, we appreciate it. We're having a blast." Just keep sending them out. It's awesome.
Yeah. I think there's 3 little bars you got to click on to see the poll.
Or something else. They'll probably say it costs them more and keep us in a need or in a need to know basis.
Yeah.
So anyway,
a lot of truth to that.
There is. I mean, the problem that you're going to have, and like I said, and I look for this to be their justification, and they'll say it very nicely, and they'll say it with legalese.
Yeah,
it's a supply and demand issue.
Oh yeah.
And because there's no competition, there's no competition here, they're allowed to charge an increased price. Now, mind you, that we live in one of the poorest counties, one of the poorest states in the United States of America, but
unemployment is one of the highest levels.
So the poorest people have to pay the most gas? Is that what you're saying? That
generally is how it works, yeah. So, a perfect example. If, John, you remember when we lived down towards western Kentucky, all right?
Yep.
Back in the day, John and I, we both lived down towards western Kentucky. You lived down towards western Kentucky. Every gas station within a 1 mile radius of Walmart lowers their price by somewhere in the neighborhood of like 9 cents.
Absolutely. Because agriculture.
No, because Sam's Club could come in at any time, open up their own gas station and drop the price on.
Yeah. But, I don't, they do that as a draw pretty much anymore. It's like the old days because you're talking my business now, groceries and retail and all that. And you have your price leaders and things, for instance, Costco. Costco sells the $4.99 whole rotisserie chickens, and they've done it for 15, 20 years. Well, a whole chicken right now will run you probably $6, but they do that as a draw because people know that they're going to do that, and that's the price they're going to do, and it's a bargain to do that. So soft drinks is a big one that a lot of people used to do.
Oh, there was no place.
Milk.
I lived in Winchester.
Milk prices.
There was no gas station that you walked into in Winchester
had 400
that
cases
had above a 99-cent soft drink and it this big. Absolutely. And because of that, every McDonald's near those gas stations, it didn't matter what size drink you bought, it was 99 cents.
That's right, yeah. And they had to do that because, it definitely got into their pocketbook.
Well, that's my brother mentioned it this the other day. My brother lives down towards western Kentucky, and he mentioned this the other day. Now, don't get me wrong. This is my home. I love this place. This is where I want to be. But he told me the other day, he said, you live in the most expensive place in America. I don't know why you live there.
That's true.
Now, he lives down towards Louisville. So you would think that the cost of living, because we hear all the time, well, the cost of living so cheap back where you live. Yeah, compared to New York City, maybe. Mm-hmm. You compare it to any place in the rest of Kentucky.
Yep. It is. You're right. You're 100% right. And the sad part about it, even if you look at insurance, for instance, car insurance, and I have questioned that a lot, and I have switched insurance companies before. Due to the fact of increases. And you know what the first thing they say to me?
I'm browsing right now.
There's more lawsuits in Magoffin County and anywhere in the state, so we got to charge more to be able to do your car. And I'm saying, excuse me?
What does that have to do with me?
That's what I'm saying. Why? Because here I go out and thanks be to God, so far, no accidents, this and that, but my insurance raised 30% last year. So I get penalized for having a good record just because somebody else.
Terry, I had on a personal note, I put a new roof on my house.
Yeah.
Okay, I bought my house knowing that it needed a roof. We had a storm, tore shingles all to pieces.
Yeah.
I had to put a new roof on my house. Mm-hmm. Most homeowners' insurance companies, the roof is going to be covered.
Yeah.
It's not going to raise your premium.
That's right.
I put a new roof on my house. My premium on my homeowner's insurance increased by 110% year over year.
That's ridiculous.
You might have to flip the phone sideways to see the poll. I'm not 100% sure.
Have we got a poll yet? Have you got a poll up?
They can't hear me. I'm all the way over in the corner. Stick me in the corner, Shayna.
Shayna wants to know why we aren't letting John in the combos. Listen, we're trying to keep this as an intelligent
I want to know if your roof was sloped or not.
If our roof was sloped? Slightly sloped. Okay. It was sloped to the point that I would be afraid to put anybody on that roof.
Yeah, it's a big pitch.
That isn't a roofer. So, for example, like if they were some sort of law enforcement, I would never put them on that roof because of how sloped it was.
Law enforcement on your roof, huh? That's kind of interesting. I would never kind of use that illustration.
Terry doesn't get it, Shannon. Explain it to him when he gets home.
Yeah, right. Well, what time is it, y'all? Have we got our poll going or not?
Our poll says active. You might have to flip your phone sideways to see it, though. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
The poll is.
It might not show up in
Listen, guys,
portrait
everybody
mode.
Get on there, hit the like button, hit the share button.
Yes.
We have lots of viewers right now. Hey, throw in your comments. What do you want us to talk about? We got about 15 minutes left in the conversation. Mm-hmm. Terry, let's get back to economics and infrastructure. One of the things that one of our readers brought up here, I think it was my boy Stephen again. We appreciate you, Stephen, always. One of the things that he brought up was infrastructure here in Magoffin County. Now, we know there's been a lot of big infrastructure jobs that has been going on a lot lately here in Magoffin County. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts?
Well, there's a lot going on. And that's the reason we had Judge Wireman be able to come aboard. That's the reason we had John Blanton as, some of our past guests. John was explaining pretty much the Mountain Parkway, the reason it's going through here, the appropriations of money and things of that nature to try to increase, economic development in our area. So, I can't talk, so you got to take over.
All right.
Goodness, throat dry.
You good?
Eastern Kentucky at one time was looked as the end of the Mountain Parkway. Well, now, according to legislators and things of that nature, we're kind of in the middle of it almost. And particularly with it now extending to Pikeville. Hopefully, and according to Representative Blanton and things, that is going to spur more interest, because one of the big things that's happening in our area is tourism. There's a tremendous amount. I've talked to county judge execs, particularly down in Powell County and also Lee County and all through those areas. There's a tremendous influx of people from New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania that are coming down, doing the trails and things that we have. Plus, they're also going to Natural Bridge a lot. A lot of them at times were coming in renting acreage or renting houses, for the vacation spots and tourism. But now those people where they used to rent or come in and use it as a tourism spot are actually purchasing acreage and all that in those areas. So I really feel that the Mountain Parkway is going to open up some more things for us. And that's why we the people of Eastern Kentucky, because we want to be able to give you the information to know that, there are things going. For instance, Judge Wyman mentioned the industrial park, about some companies that are coming in there. And the key thing is now, and what I question, we've heard people, and they've committed to coming in, but when are they coming? And when are those jobs going to happen? And a lot of it's in technology and things like this of the newer version, or now that we have broadband, we've, spoken a lot here on the podcast in the past. Broadband in our area was great. So, but we have things going, but we need the support of you all out there in the communities and stuff to be able to make our areas and our places attractive to those people that's coming in. I think one of the biggest attractions, and I hear this from a lot of people, being a person that was born here, raised here, went up to live with those Buckeyes for 13, 14 years. And then when I graduated from high school, I came back home. I came back to Eastern Kentucky because this is my home. There's a lot of people love Eastern Kentucky. I mean, even people recently that are doing remote jobs are relocating from Indiana, Illinois, and coming here to Eastern Kentucky because of the broadband that we have to be able to do here. But they're remote workers. So there's opportunities here. And that's what we welcome anybody out there, particularly. And I've talked recently with
Foothills.
Judy Daniels, which is Economic Development Director in Johnson County. Because like I said, our biggest viewer audience for We the People is in Magoffin County and the Salyerville area, but we have a tremendous following now, I notice, in Floyd County. So I challenge the people that are involved with economic development there to come be a guest with us, on our business discussions here and things like that, and be able to share with your people what's going on. Through the guests that we've had, we've seen a lot of positive results and people that are encouraged now seeing that there are things happening.
One of the most recent photographs that was released on Appalachia Insight.
We had a good question too just then.
I did. I saw that. And that's kind of going to tie into you're going
to tie it into it. All right.
One of the people that
go ahead, sir.
Lynn Red Bailey said, what will they be doing about the damage done by city sewer to these people's homes? Lynn, can you go a little more detail with that?
Well, what's happened, I can talk to that a little bit. There's been over $1 million appropriated through grants recently. Mm-hmm. They had problems with one of the pump stations, a grinding station and stuff like that, because it was overloaded, it was overworked, really it was obsolete, out of date.
Right.
So they've recently got grants coming to be able to pay and get in there and put new pump stations in, things of that nature. So that's other things that people don't understand, that are things in the works that are being able to be done. I mean, a perfect example is what Judge Wireman shared with us. Everybody comes to the Little League games and the Babe Ruth games and this and that, or the softball down at Ramey Park. Well, poof, here comes lights. And people really didn't care. They thought it was great. Man, we got lights now. We can have night games, this and that, and all that kind of deal. They had no idea how it got there. Well, he had to go to Frankfurt and literally beg, I guess you could say, and got over $900,000, which has enabled him to put the lights down in the county park there. But a lot of people don't know. Some of our legislators going out there on the limb trying to do some of these things to do that. That's why we have those people on our podcast, to be able to explain that, hey, there is workings going behind the scenes that maybe not the normal or natural person that don't have the communication would know.
Well, I think what Lynn is speaking of in particular, though, Terry, is that the infrastructure of the sewer system in Magoffin County, if I'm not mistaken, the vast majority of it was put into place between the 1950s to the 1970s.
Yeah, it's obsolete.
So you're still talking about clay piping.
Oh, yeah, we got a giveaway to give away tonight, too.
Do what, John?
We have a giveaway.
Oh,
I have a giveaway.
Oh, sweet. We'll do the giveaway then at the end of the show. But
it's true. There are a lot of clay pipes.
We got a lot of clay pipe, and the problem with the clay pipe is you hit it with a hammer, it busts. I mean, it's just that simple.
Especially 50 years old.
One of the things that I've been reaching out to some people here lately, Appalachia Insider will be releasing a story about this, is sewer issues that have been prevalent recently here in the Dixie area of Magoffin County.
Yeah.
I believe that might be what Lynn was speaking about.
It is. I think it is.
I have reached out to the mayor, going to try to find out a little bit more about what the plans are, or if there are any plans to address this situation, and see what we can find out about.
Well, one of the problems in Dixie, from what I understand, and digging into
this said right here, Lynn replied to us, said family up Dixie had backup in their home not long ago, and they're not helping them.
Well, what happened was some of those houses in Dixie, when they were built and things, actually hooked their sewer line, to the city line, which they're not able to do.
Where else would
legally,
you put the sewer?
They basically had to have septic tanks, this and that, or whatever to do that. And what's happening is, so they tell me, there's an over-influx of those people that are tied into the sewer line, which is causing the backflow to come back because there's so much, waste and solid waste is, coming down the pike there, because the workload, because of housing and all that stuff that's been on that line, it's too much.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that Dixie, which is dead center of the city of Sayersville,
absolutely, yes,
should not be hooked to the Sayersville city sewer.
No, there's yes. From what I understand, it's against the law to do that. You can't have that hooked in.
We're going to have to look into this, folks.
Yes.
I'm curious.
It's a good question. It's a good.
I think we'll do the giveaway next Tuesday, because I didn't bring it with me.
Okay.
I mean, we give away something.
What are we going to give away?
A laptop.
Ooh.
Windows 11 laptop.
Ooh, that's a good giveaway.
So you guys better like and share and follow Appalachia Insider.
Windows 11 laptop. Folks, hit the like, hit the share button.
Yeah.
We'll give it away. I mean, we can give it away tonight if you want to, but
I think it's a 2
I didn't bring it with me, so it's kind of hard to show off.
Jerry thinks that's a 2 or 3 weeker.
That's a 2 or 3 weeker.
I have all kinds of stuff to give away, folks.
Okay, we got stuff to give away.
Why don't they do that on the like and share? And what we'll do in the next 4 weeks, when we have our next You Ask For It, then let's give it away. So those of you that are out there, hit that like and share button, and we'll be able to, get a record of that, and that will automatically enter you into a drawing for the laptop. And we'll announce.
Yes, my brother, the sewer was 4 foot in his basement.
And Nathaniel
Rides. Wow. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
I like that. I like it a lot. I do. So yes, we have a response here. Stan Reisner says, "Yes, my brother, the sewer was 4 foot in. Let's see, the sewer is 4 foot in his basement. Nathaniel Rice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying, Stan, is that your brother's basement had 4 foot of raw sewage in it.
Oh gosh.
Woo.
Wow.
That's awful.
Thanks, Amanda Beck.
Well, we need to get some answers to that.
Oh, we're going to look into it.
That needs to happen. Appalachia Insider.
Appalachia Insider will look into this. One of the things, folks listening, we wanted Terry touched on it here for just a second. One of the things that we love about this show, about the podcast, the long-form conversation, something I touched on a little earlier as well, is that it gives us time to be able to talk with you.
Yes.
Gives us time to be able to understand what everybody's going on, and gives us the ability to relay information to you.
Yes.
Anybody that's on the show, hopefully you follow Appalachia Insider. We definitely appreciate that. Mm-hmm. That's our chance to be able to provide news and information as we get it and as it becomes available and prevalent to us.
That's right.
Mind you, we are still a small organization, so every time you hit the like button, every time you hit the share button, especially every time you hit the subscribe button for just 99 cents a month and join up, less than it costs for a cup of coffee, less than it costs for a can of pop, and join up. It helps us build up and be able to spread more words, spread more news. Right. We are trying to build up to be able to bring how much we love Magoffin County and this area to the rest of the world.
I always say that we're trying to put Magoffin County on the digital map at this point.
Yeah.
We're doing shows, we're doing giveaways, we're just trying to help small businesses. We're just trying to have a cool show in Magoffin County.
Bud Montgomery said agree to
all
disagree.
Kinds of shows.
What are we agreeing to disagree on, Bud?
What are you talking about, Bud?
What are you talking about, Bud? Because let's get into it, folks. We got 5 more minutes left in the show. Let's get into let's this back and forth conversation is how we grow as a society. It's how we come together.
Yeah, freedom of speech. That's it.
We love it. Freedom of speech is the foundation of this country. Without it, we would be nothing.
It is. Any campaign or any policy that I've ever been involved with, that First Amendment is everything. The representation part, that we touched upon a little bit earlier. Freedom of speech is the ability to speak your mind. It's to speak your mind to people that are your political leaders that you elect and you go to the polls to vote for, and they should represent you. And we need to hold them accountable.
Bud says Bud's response when I said agree to disagree, Bud's response was politics. Now, I would like to make it very, very plain. Terry and I both have differing opinions on politics. Mm-hmm. We're sure that a lot of the people watching the show tonight are going to have different opinions from us. We do this and we have these conversations because we enjoy the back and forth. We enjoy being able to have different conversations with different individuals and understand how you think about some things. But the great thing about this country, and I think we need to get back to this again, is the fact that we can agree to disagree.
Yes, we can.
And we still think the world of each other.
Yes.
Bud Montgomery's related to the Montgomery clan, so am I. We're probably family. Mm-hmm. So the fact is that,
you're kin to Bud Montgomery.
Oh, I am kin to Bud Montgomery then. All right. So the fact of the matter is that's one of the greatest things about this country is that Terry and I are going to have a back and forth here. We're going to sit and butt heads to each other like we can't stand each other. And at the end of the day, we're partners and we're having a blast.
I can't stand you.
Yeah. And then the main
John can't stand either one of us. We know that.
The main thing as far as viewers, you all, and let me do that, what we're talking about here could be personal influence or whatever, or influence than people that we've gotten. But
I 100% agree with that.
We respect every person's point of view. And if you don't agree with whatever, then you have the right to be able to say, look, I don't agree, and this is the reason why I don't, because like I said before, every little bit of this challenges our belief system and our faith and all that. And the biggest thing that concerns me is we need to enact, and our behavior needs to reflect what our beliefs are. Doesn't mean that our beliefs can't change, but we need to live our lives accordingly. And that's what I get into the morality thing, If we feel that we should live our life and be this way, then our life is a testimony and influence on everybody that's around us. And I think the most important thing is we need to look at the glass half full. We need to be positive and we need to support each other. And rather than come to arms or secession or whatever, the respectability has to be there. And that's where I feel in Congress, and some of the others, we've lost that. We've lost the respectability.
Terry, I'll tell you what. Real quick, before we start wrapping it up, and we'll give John that minute to speak. We have lost in this country to left, right, center. At this point, I don't even know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Left, right, center. We have lost in this country the realization that we are all together.
Yes.
There are people in power, and it is our job to kindly, but forcefully, hold them to account.
Yes.
You will make my life better, or I will elect someone who will.
Yes, absolutely. And the most important thing, to kind of sum that up what Cody's saying, you have a right as a citizen of your community and of your state, commonwealth, nation to vote. So, don't sit back and say, well, I'm not going to go vote because, and I tell people this, when you don't go to the polls to vote, when you don't go to the polls to vote, you actually cast 2 votes. Because what happens is
Terry, are you voting twice somehow?
No, your vote doesn't matter, but the point is somebody else that votes against somebody that you want because you didn't show up, that's actually 2 votes against you. So go vote, people. Doesn't matter.
I'll vote for her whenever she doesn't take a salary. I'll flip.
See, that's a legitimate conversation and a legitimate argument. The point of all of it is we've got to remember, and me and my brother had this conversation. We actually were discussing economics when we had this conversation because he was just saying, well, if you increase people's pay, people's going to raise the price of everything. I said, we need to get back to an understanding, and this is the economic view of it, but it stands politically too. We need to get back to an understanding in this country. We have forgotten that the citizens control this country.
Absolutely.
And we have gotten away from the fact we're allowing corporations to control us.
Yep.
We're allowing politicians to control us. We're allowing everyone to control us, and nobody's coming together anymore and standing up and saying, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I know what's best for me. I know what's best for my family. I know what's best for my community. It's time you start listening to us again.
Yeah, and the point there is this. Don't buy it. You have a right to buy and to purchase whatever you want to. And see, that was a big thing, in the retail industry.
That's how you lower prices. You quit buying their crap, they'll lower their price.
And you've seen that happen, and particularly recently in some of the grocery items, they have started. I mean, I'm an Entenmann's freak. I love Entenmann donuts.
I don't know what that is.
The chocolate-covered donuts.
Oh, those little waxy ones?
Well, yes. And I want to tell you, I love them because quality's great. But they've gotten up to $5.60, for, what was it, 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
But because people stopped buying them or their tonnage, supply, and demand went down, now they're $4.68.
Well, it's not even about that, Terry.
Listen, because all of a sudden nobody's buying them, so they're going to drop. Yeah, McDonald's.
This McDonald's $5
Guys, leave us a comment on what kind of giveaway you would like to have on the podcast.
So much fun.
First time in 4 years. Did you see that?
McDonald's is lower. They're doing the $5 deal. But you know what that really says to me? That says for the last 3 years we've been gouging you.
Yes.
And now you're not going to let them do it anymore.
But you know why they're doing it?
Because
for the first time in the last 4 years, McDonald's ideal status from the same store is behind the previous year. First time in the last 4 years.
It's 8:32, Terry. We got to wrap it up. Listen, guys, this has been a great conversation.
Yes.
Probably the best you asked for it that we've had so far. It's been so much fun. We really appreciate everybody's comments and everybody hitting like and sharing, getting it out there. We've had a great time. We're looking forward to the next one. 3 weeks from this week, we will do another You Asked For It. On that time, we will be giving away a Windows 11 laptop. We will be keeping an eye. Everybody that's hit like and share tonight, we'll put your name in a drawing and somebody will get picked out.
Yes.
Once again, as we wrap it up, we want to thank all of our sponsors, especially tonight, Mi Hacienda Mexican Restaurant, for allowing us to film here and record here. Terry, anything else for you, brother?
I just, be safe. Keep looking up. We have the best years ahead of us. And you know what? We're the ones that make those People in Washington don't. People in Frankfurt don't. You are the one that can make an impact in your life and in somebody else's life with respectability. It's okay to disagree, but you got to respect that other person as well. So I'm going to say good night for me, and we'll see you next Tuesday night.
Good night.